Hello and welcome to Channel's Book Club. My name is Olakunle Kasumo and it's great to be on the show again. What have you been reading? This is March 2022 and I'm very curious to know how many books have you read this year and what are you reading now? Now, if you've not read any book this year, come on. Get started today and start reading a book. Reading is powerful. It's entertaining, it's educative, it's inspiring. A book can change your life. So get on to reading a book. Have a reading plan for the rest of the year and start reading. Now, I read a number of books, regularly for obvious reasons. I have to read the book I'm going to review next, and then I've got this pile of books that I want to read on my own without reviewing with an author. So it can be a bit tedious for me in terms of reading. I don't have so much time. I have to pack in so much into so little time. Now, this book, The Triumph of the Water Lily, is a book I've been reading very recently. This is a fascinating book. And the author of this book, Stella Osamo, will be joining us on this show very soon. So you may want to look out for that. It's a very interesting, intriguing book with some fascinating characters. I like to read novels. Not all the time, but I love to read novels. I have a mixture of novels and fiction and non-fiction books that I read regularly. All right, now, on the show today is a couple and their children who have done a lot to improve the reading culture in Nigeria. On this show, we like to have heroes that we introduce to you as often as possible. Make no mistake about this. The couple you're about to meet are heroes in every sense of the word. They've done a lot trying to promote the reading culture in Nigeria and education among young people in the country. I won't say too much. You'll get to meet with them in this short documentary or report, you may want to call it, about this fascinating couple. Enjoy this.
Dr. Seuss, a celebrated American poet, illustrator, and children's author, once said, "The more you read, the more things you will know. The more you will learn, and the more places you will go." This has inspired the founders of Readland Global, Francis and Temiloluwa Adeshinas, who have both dedicated much of their lives to promoting a reading and writing culture among young Nigerians. This dedication has led them to setting up reading programs for children, publish children's books, support talented children authors, enlighten parents on how to raise children to become learners, and establish education centers for children. This passion for children also inspired Francis and Temiloluwa to convert their home library to a community library. Going down memory lane, the couple explained their love for books brought them together.
My wife, she's the chief editor of her fellowship. So somebody told her that if she wants a fantastic magazine design, that she should come and meet Francis way back in school in Lautech. That's like close to 20 years. So she came, and I was not around at that moment, so she had a dream before the day she came, and she was sharing that dream. I think she would be in the best position to talk about the dream. Then a friend now said, there's Walking With Us way back, because I started like a creative shop that morphed into an advertising company. Then James Abinibi precisely now said, that's Francis' dream. That caught his attention, so I was called into that conversation. And it was what connected us. You know the way they say it.
The rest is history.
The rest is history. Our passion and commitment to reading, our love for books, brought us together.
And that has kept us together.
And that has kept us together. Because when there's a little misunderstanding, she might just say, you know the deadline for so book, because I also published and I also do the illustrations of most of the books. So she will say, and I have no choice, since God called us into it. Even when I'm angry, I still go to.
So we just laugh about it.
So books also heal misunderstanding.
Parents are critical in helping children develop interest in reading. For Francis Santemulolua, this was not different.
My mom nurtured us with books. During her birthdays, my mom wasn't someone that would say, oh, I have to do this party for you or get you a new dress. So what my mom did every single birthday when I was a child was, I remember some of these books, I wish I could show you some of them now. Every birthday she would say, happy birthday on your 7th birthday, a new book. So she gave us books for each of our birthdays, and then because my mom was a VP academics in her school, so there was a time they were renovating our library in Awari Islam, Ulele Ibadan. So they brought the whole library of my mom's school home. So my mom's bedroom became a sukkah for all the books, about 5,000 books in her school library. And I think that's where I began to discover my love for reading. So after my assignment every day, at the age of 8, I would go into my mom's room. My mom's room was very big, those olden days rooms and all that, very spacious. So I would sit and I read any kind of book we had in those days, Colon Odikbe, Cyprian Quincy, Chiki and the River. I read all those old titles, Mabel Shegun. So I read all of them, Nasri Drew series, Emmy Blyton, The Enchanted Woods. That was where I discovered, I believe, a love for reading came.
Yeah, for me, mine is like quite different. You know, her mom is into teaching and she's a principal. My dad is not a teacher, neither my mom. My mom works with CBN, you understand. But for me, I think my father is always laying an emphasis on writing essays, your classwork and all that. So that put a pressure on us to read. But for me, you know how destiny calls. Way back, I would write stories. I will take pages from books. I will draw. I love drawing from God knows when. So I will write those books and I'll put dates. That part 1 of the book or part 2 will be out by January 20. So my friends will come. So I'll be working hard to meet deadlines because my friends will come to ask for part 2. My elder sister, she's aunt, also loves, she's into art class, you know, literature, stories. So I'll read those books and also come up with my own stories, because children, my friends, will come in at a particular date. God is just saying, there's a future where you also do the same.
Temiloluwa, who has spoken in various parents' fora at TED Talk on the same topic, explains how the couple have been able to pass their reading habit on to their children, who are now authors.
We are blessed with 3 children, 3 amazing children. Mojonyoluwa, Adeshinas, Moboluware, and Mufeoluwatan. How did we start? I guess we just woke up one day and said, when this is all about book business thing, I found out that in those schools I was working with, I didn't have time for them. And I realized that with my own childhood and upbringing, if we continue this way, we will lose these children, and everything that was invested in us by our parents and that God has invested in us over time, we will have to give account on it. So I just said, no matter how busy the 2 of us are, we need to make time out for them. So at that time, I guess when we woke up, I call it waking up. Mojoin was 7, Mobolurin was 5, Mofe was still that baby. And we began to buy books. I think we first of all bought 40 books. And you know, they didn't have these books in their schools. I will tell you that our children never went to all these Ivy League schools. People ask us, what school do they go? I said, at that time, as when we started, our children were going to a school that was paying maybe school fees 20,000. And that's the truth. On the mainland. So it wasn't the school. It was the intentionality about the 2 of us. So we bought like 40 books. And that day, they were like, the children were visiting a candy store. They were so happy. They had never seen this type of books before. And the 40 books, before we knew it, after homework, the children wanted to read till midnight. We said, no, you guys have to go to bed. But when you come back from school after doing your homework, they were reading voraciously. All of a sudden, we noticed that, I think the children will tell you, they began to do some amazing things. Our first daughter began to write. Then our son began to cut out toys, superhero toys, and give out to children. Those children that come into the center, a gift. I do this out for you. I like the superhero. So they began to choose their path. Our daughter, the baby too, was scribbling. At the age of 5, she began to write and all that. And that was where our eyes opened. We need to write curriculums for creative writing.
Francis elaborates on what motivated them to adopt a reading lifestyle and the book business.
I'm always interested in what you will become in the future. Then when we had this confusion of going to all about book business, the next question is, how are we going to start? Then later we got details that we should raise leaders of competence and character. It became even more complex. Then we now said, how will this happen? Then we had clearly that we should start with books and reading.
It was Temiloluwa's book, Bantu, that brought the couple to limelight and expanded their influence.
At the point we wrote a book, Bantu, the big fat bully, and it was picked as one of the best content book in Nigeria. So it was exhibited around the world to push or promote Nigeria. So the wife of the vice president, Mrs. Dolapo Oshibajo, was part of those that visited or participated in that exhibition. So she saw the book and we were called to Aso Rock. Why am I pointing back to the book? So, because that book also did a lot. They now called us in for partnership to establish libraries in communities. And you know, libraries are centers for reading. So when we started that, they saw us doing it in our room. They saw it in the sitting room. So it became a bit bigger because we now had the first community reading center in Agege. So children, now it's more, instead of them coming in and to just sitting room to just read and leave, they are not our house. We now have a center. So that was how we put that into action. And we also noticed one secret about reading. There's a way it exhumes, it brings out your inner talent, your giftings. And that also informed us that we also do beyond reading. We should also put in structures. One of the traditional thinking about reading is reading ends with reading. But at Readland, what we now do is now create platforms to hone those expressions that reading has exhumed from them. Like children that read, we discover that apart from reading, this child can draw. So we created the digital art masterclass. We now realize, this child has a passion for tech or computer or games. Then we created the coding masterclass. This child has maybe a gifting for writing. Push that into creative writing masterclass. Yeah, public speaking. So yeah, so we now did that in a strategic model, like 3 months in, so 12 weeks, certified, and get the certificate. And it opens the doors to competition. So we push them into international competitions. And it's so amazing that we have so many children that have won international awards representing Nigeria and making Africa proud. And everything began with reading.
Many parents tend to worry about their inability to get their children reading, especially in a generation with constant distractions. Being a British curriculum teacher and an education consultant, Temiloluwa explains how she's been able to put her profession into play by helping her own children and promoting Readland.
One of the ways I have been able to put that side, my professional side, to play and help Readland is, I have instances. The time there was a boy was brought to the center at that time. When we tested him, the parents didn't even have any diagnosis. But from me and my knowledge of teaching at that time, I'd met boys like him in school. They laugh a lot. They just laugh at you. They play around. They don't talk. They can't even read anything. So at that time, he wasn't dyslexic. He was autistic. He was stammering. He couldn't bring out like 3-letter words or say it at once. What we did, we continued with our own therapy of teaching. We continued with the way that we ensure that reading is visual, it's pictorial, the children were enjoying it. And we didn't know this boy was even gaining a lot. We just believed, let's just keep doing our thing. All of a sudden, I get a call from his teacher, and I heard, Ms. Adeshinas, what did you do to this boy? I said, what happened? He said, normally he doesn't do anything in class, he just sits and laughs, and she's teaching. And then she was asking them to read their comprehension textbook that day, and he just walked up to her. That, ma'am, excuse me, ma'am, can I read to the class? That she said she was gobsmacked, and she said, okay. Thinking he would do the same thing, laugh and all that. But he began to read. She said, what did you do to him? It's a miracle. I just thought I said it's a miracle. He was just reading. And she began to tell all the parents, go and meet them at Greenland. They have the magic, they have the answers. That was how the children at that time grew from like 200 to 1,000. Yeah. And our house would not contain the children anymore.
As custom demands, the older girls had been sent to go and fetch water at the nearby stream. Go directly to the stream and return home immediately, their mothers warned. At the stream, so many children were swimming and splashing water on one another. Amaka and the other girls filled their pots quickly and headed home.
Their first child, Mojoyinoluwa, explains how reading has exposed her to new things.
Reading has exposed me to a lot of things I didn't know before. Like for coding, I read books about coding so that I could learn more about coding and to be easier for me to be able to do coding. And for being the youngest Nigerian OAP, I read biographies of different on-air personalities like Oprah Winfrey, and I learned a lot from them, so I'll be able to come out as the youngest Nigerian OAP.
Their son speaks on what inspired him to write his award-winning book.
The name of my book is Super Brain Boy, and it's about a boy who wasn't smart. Police teased him about because he wasn't smart. So God from the sky, God per nature, gave him his powers of being a superhero and also being the smartest person in the world. Well, it started because I didn't know mathematics. So my dad helped me create an affirmation. Was I have a super brain, I know mathematics, I'll teach others and I'll know more than my teachers. So that affirmation inspired me to create the superhero, Super Brain Boy. Well, I want to say to the viewers who are watching this that you are unstoppable. Nothing is going to stop you from doing what you want to do.
Indeed, you are unstoppable. Unstoppable. Fascinating family. I mean, they just inspire us to leave our own footprints on the sands of time. They are the Adeshinas. There's so much to do. This country, Nigeria, needs a lot of us to go out there and just do our thing, do the best we can do to bless lives, to influence lives, to give a child here and there, you know, a hand, and make sure that we build a better country. Nigeria can be great if Nigerians do great things, and we can all do great things. We look forward to getting your feedback through any of our social media platforms displayed on your screen. We're always excited to read from you and always happy to respond to your inquiries. Even criticisms, we like to read when you say, oh, you're not doing this well, you can do that better. I would like to read those things because they help us to improve the show. My name is Olakunle Kasumo. Remember, one great book can change your life. Bye-bye.